In 2021, Ballymore announced a strategic partnership with Sainsbury's to launch a £1.7 billion major regeneration in Ladbroke Grove. Stretched over 18 acres, this is the last major brownfield site in Kensington and Chelsea. In addition to Ballymore, there are two other developers involved in the project: Barclays St William and the Department of Transport. This is a 3D impression of the development based on plans shown to us by Michael Hughes at Ballymore. At the centre of the development is a giant, supersized Sainsbury's, surrounded by three high-rise tower blocks, similar in height to Trellick Tower. Sainsbury's marketing plan is to service home deliveries to these 3,500 captive shoppers. So what will it look like? This is an actual picture of Trellick Tower. You can see the houses in the foreground, which give a sense of scale. Now imagine that seen from the Harrow Road. Imagine 3 towers. Now, using Ruth's excellent graphic, this is what it might look like from Berens Road. And again at night. Now, I used actual photos of Trellick Tower at night, so this is no exaggeration. So make no mistake, despite Ballymore's pretty pictures of trees and canal boats, we're not talking canal side regeneration with a few funky cafes and restaurants. We're talking about building a whole town on the other side of the cemetery. So what does this mean for us? Well, how long does it take to build a town? Noise pollution and traffic congestion during the construction phase of development will be an absolute nightmare and will take 10 years to complete. If you run your business from home, this is an absolute disaster. If you're trying to sell your house, well, good luck. The Triangle Conservation Area will effectively become a building site with a snaking line of lorries going up and down the Harrow Road. Ballymore plans to build up to 3,500 residential housing units on the site, with a Sainsbury's underground car park for 240 cars. There'll be residential parking for approximately 500 cars, all using one entrance and exit into Ladbroke Grove. Now that's a total of 740 cars. More cars than a typical NCP car park. The air quality in London consistently fails to meet WHO standards. Electric vehicles also create airborne pollution. Now, much of the pollution comes from tyre particulates, not exhausts. Another major concern is increased crime rates and the environmental impact of population growth on an area that already has overstretched resources and high-density housing. So given all these major concerns, how does this equate with Kensington and Chelsea's sustainability targets? All planning applications have to meet criteria outlined in Local Agenda 21 targets. The most important goal is sustainable development. Clean air, clean water, low noise pollution and natural environment, measured using key species such as bird numbers. In their Green Agenda Plan statement of 2021, Kensington and Chelsea stated, "Our vision is to improve air quality, increasing biodiversity, tackling fuel poverty, a safer borough where people love to live, work and visit." Now, looking at Ballymore's plan, we see provision for 3,500 housing units. Given that some of these are 2 and 4 bedroom units, we're looking at around 8,000 new residents. Now, this is a huge population increase, which will in turn increase exponentially over the next 10 years and have a direct impact on services and local infrastructure such as medical, schools, waste disposal, transport and so on. Even more vehicles parked in the area, creating even more pollution. And this doesn't account for extra visitors to the area servicing this whole new town development. So to summarise, we see increased population leading to more crime, pollution, less safe streets, basically a catalogue of disaster. Now let's look at construction over the next 10-year period. In addition to noise pollution and traffic congestion, another key area of concern is air pollution due to unburnt fuel and carbon emissions typically found in large building sites. It's worth noting that cement makes up 3% of total CO2 emissions. Now, what mother would want to take their child to Sainsbury's knowing this? In addition to any regulations set by Kensington and Chelsea, developers also have to adhere to the GLA planning regulations to ensure they meet environmental codes. The developer must complete a detailed life cycle carbon assessment form that covers all aspects of the project, including the construction and post-construction period. So let's turn to the issue of high-rise tower blocks. Now, if you look at this Kensington and Chelsea graphic, in the top left-hand corner, you can see they refer to a general height strategy of between 4 to 20 stories high. Now, when you look at these artists' impressions of Ballimore's site, it's clear the majority of buildings are at least 20 stories. Now, this will dramatically affect our local skyline, while light pollution will also be a major issue for local residents. The tragic memory and legacy of Grenfell Tower is still fresh in the minds of our local community. One outcome was a government review of high-rise developments and fire safety. So let's have a look at Ballimore's track record on this issue. On Wednesday the 15th of March, Michael Gove named and shamed developers who had not signed the post-Grenfell safety contract. Amongst those named was Ballymore. Ballymore completed Phase 2 of their consultation process in July 2021, where they stated 88% of responses supported the design approach. However, that represents just under 5% of the total number of voters in Kensington and Chelsea and the adjacent areas of Brent and Westminster. Given the scale of this development, remember we're talking about a town, shouldn't there be a wider consultation with residents and councils in Brent and Westminster? Is there a better alternative? Ladbroke Grove Green Space is an alternative proposal based on the award-winning Unity House high-density, low-rise development in Kilburn. There's no need for ugly, high-rise tower blocks. The project utilises passive heating, sustainable materials with low carbon emissions. There are more green space gardens, less fire risk, and greater community connections between residents. Unity House features 4, 6, and 8-storey units. Even if you doubled the height of these units in favour of 8, 12, and 16 stories, you could still meet the requirements of the Kensington and Chelsea brief. Here's my impression of what a 5 and 10-storey unit would look like next to Sainsbury's. And we could also possibly get funding and indeed support from King Charles's new Sustainable Markets Initiative, which was launched in Davos in 2021. So in terms of next steps, let's open the debate, get more residents involved, use social media, and do everything we can to push for an alternative plan to regenerate the site. A project that could become a flagship for London and something our community could really get engaged with. So let's keep Kensal green.